What's up, guys? My name is JDCook5 and welcome to the Astana versus Chelsea preview in the Europa Conference League. Before we do get into this particular video, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. I really appreciate it if you can do so. It's completely free to do so and it helps me out a massive bunch. Astana versus Chelsea, where Chelsea travel over to Kazakhstan in the 3:30 kickoff UK time. Interesting fixture, it has to be said. In terms of the Conference League itself, I feel like we're pretty much done and dusted in the job that we've already partaked in this particular competition so far. We're already at least guaranteed a playoff spot, and a win pretty much guarantees us to be able to go through straight away with still another game to play against Shamrock Rovers next Thursday. We're only two teams in the Conference League at the moment to be able to have a complete record, as well as Polish outfit side Liga Warsaw. So we've been doing pretty well. Competition high of 18 goals and conceding just 3 in the process, so not doing too bad whatsoever. Our whole campaign, to be honest, has been pretty easy, and it's been pretty sublime in terms of the actual B team that we've played against these sides, and we've still been able to come out kind of top trumps. It's a bit of a weird format, only 6 games to actually play in the whole competition in terms of where we are at this moment in time, compared to the Conference League and the Champions League, where they have to play 8 until they get into the knockouts. Astana are in a little bit of a kind of different kind of position compared to us, and we'll go into the tables in a bit, but for themselves, they're going to be wanting to try and get some points on the board, because they're currently at the bottom of the sort of playoff points at this point in time. So they're going to be wanting to try and get a result, at least a point. But hopefully we can kind of continue on the run that we've been really doing at the moment. And Astana haven't really been able to do anything apart from their win against Baka Tolopa, a 1-0 victory in October. But they've had back-to-back defeats since that, and a 1-1 draw to Portuguese outfit Vitória de Guimarães a fortnight ago. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of the game itself. It's going to be some strange conditions as well. Currently reading -22, I think, out there when they were saying, and it's a 5,000-kilometre journey. So it's going to be a tough one, but I do expect some changes with it. It's going to be interesting. As for Chelsea, there's a lot of players that they exempt because they wasn't called into the side, for like Cole Palmer, Bettinelli, Lavia. Fofana's obviously injured, James is injured, and the other noted fact is Cesare Casadei is also unavailable due to suspension, but Mykhailo Mudrik's illness will be assessed before kick-off, but I'm pretty sure he should realistically make the side, but you can never really determine if that's going to be the case. As I mentioned, he's going to be making some rotations, which we'll go into in a bit, but let's assess the opposition. Now, in Kazakhstan, they have their version of the Premier League, but it's only made up of 13 teams, which is very surprising to see. And it's a very new club, founded in 2008, and they've had some they've dived into some European competitions before, having played in the playoffs in the Europa League. So it's an interesting club, it has to be said, and it's a very interesting league. There's not really much to say about it in terms of the teams that they play against either, because there's not really that many noticeable teams, apart from obviously who we're playing against tomorrow. In terms of their league form, though, they've played 24 games overall. They've won 14 of them, drew 4 and lost 6. Currently sitting second in their Premier League, which isn't too bad, but obviously comparing the difference, obviously there's a much greater difference compared to our Premier League compared to theirs, but they're still doing fairly alright in their own league. These are the current standings for the Europa League itself, and as you can see, we're quite dominant. Just below them, right at the bottom of the playoff, they're literally just on the cusp of it, or Astana. But in terms of ourselves, in the position that we are, there's still many teams that are pretty much right on us. But at the same time, with only 2 games to spare, if we were to win this one, we are guaranteed to be able to go through, and that is it. And we've put ourselves in a very, very good competition. It's very surprising to see, in fairness, because the team that I'd thought would be up there with us is Fiorentina. They're on 9 points. They've only lost 1 of their 4 games. But at the same time, they're definitely one of the stronger outfits compared to many others within the league. But yeah, we're doing very well. The competition has worked out in our favour much due to the depth that we've got in the squad and the rotation and everything else. I feel like we're in a great position at the moment, and hopefully we can get the win just to be able to solidify that, and maybe we can play a few more youngsters in our game next Thursday against Shamrock Rovers. Now here is my lineup prediction against Astana. I'm hoping for many changes. We realistically need to rotate for Sunday. In fairness, a lot of players I don't think will even travel that are normally in this particular squad, like Cucurella. I don't think he'll even be on the bench. In fairness, I feel like they'll have pretty much a youth bench. But this would be my lineup. Jorgensen in goal. I feel like he's probably been one of our better second goalkeepers that we've had over the years, and I feel like he's been pretty sublime. In fairness, he hasn't really put a foot wrong, and hopefully he proves that again against Astana. And really kind of puts the mind kind of at fault in terms of who he puts in goal, because Robert Sanchez isn't convincing whatsoever, but they're still sticking with the cup goalkeeper for Jorgensen at this moment in time. So Jorgensen in goal. Renato Vega on the left hand side probably hasn't had as much game time as what he would probably favour. As much as he's been played in these competitions, he hasn't really been played elsewhere, so he'll be looking forward to getting on the pitch, I can only assume, with the defence of Axel Disasi, Tosin as a partnership. Seems to be that these two have been playing quite frequently, and with Badiashile filling in for Fafana, I don't feel like we'll see him feature. On the right hand side, Josh Akupong. There's been many things across the year about his contract situation and so on, and Chelsea put their foot down to mention that basically if he weren't to sign a contract, that he would not be playing further on in the youth setup. He won't be training or anything, but it seems to be the logistics of that have changed in recently, and it seems to be that he might be able to renew a contract, which is really interesting, and it's good for ourselves because we're able to keep a great youth prospect and someone that we might be able to have for the future. He's a great addition to the squad, and he can only get better, and there's been big clubs in for him at this moment in time, so it goes to show the talent that he does hold, and I reckon he'll be making his first start on the right hand side. In terms of the midfield, we've got Shrewsbury Hall. I mentioned the Cesare Casadei is obviously suspended, so I reckon Raksaki will be going in the midfield. He's been featuring on the bench a lot of the time, and I do believe he's already made his debut for the club in this particular competition, but I reckon he'll be able to get a start this time round and be able to showcase his talent. On the left hand side, Mikhailo Mudryk, if not ill, then he should be playing. If not, it will probably be João Felix, in fairness. In the middle, Nkuku, he's been our top goal scorer so far, and it's clear to see why, because he's been banging in the goals in this competition, and hopefully that continues for him so we can keep up his form. On the right hand side, Tyreek George, I reckon this is a great chance for himself to get another start in this particular game and also display his qualities. He's yet to be able to find the back of the net, but I reckon a goal could really stem something special for George, and he definitely shows the talents that he's withholding at this moment in time. With the striker being Mark Gui, his work rate's been insane. It's just the finishing for him, I find. But I reckon that can be kind of worked upon, bearing in mind he's a very young player in itself. Seems to be that he's had a few starts over this course and time in the Conference League, so there's no right reason why we shouldn't start him up front. It's a solid 11. There's a lot of changes and there's a lot of youth, but it kind of makes me excited to watch different players that we haven't seen before. So, interesting lineup if that were to be the case for Enzo Maresca's side. And this would be my score prediction. I reckon a solid Chelsea 4-0 win. I think the conditions might have a part to play in it in some way, but at the same time I feel like we'll just have too much quality for them, even if we are to make the changes that I've listed. Should be a pretty easy match, and hopefully there is some G up in terms of the players, because if they know they get this game done, then it's a solid kind of way through to the knockout stages, and there's nothing to worry about from that point onwards. But yeah, that is my preview for the game. I'll be watching it later on tomorrow, so I'll be doing a review afterwards, and stay tuned for that one. That is it for this particular preview. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.